I was taking family pictures, and I took pictures of these chickens, a rooster and a hen, like jumped up on the rail next to me while they were changing their kids or something. And I jokingly put it like on social media. I think Facebook at the time was what was cool. It was jokingly, I put, I did an engagement session today. And I posted a picture of the chickens. Well, It's kind of, there's like a barn in the background. There's like a sunset behind it. It was kind of dramatic. But so people started ordering prints. Somebody asked for it to be like in a zine. And then it was part of a collection of a few other pictures I had that ended up in a museum.
Oh, wow.
And I call them my famous chickens.
Let's talk tails.
Today's Tales with Taylor guest is originally from Ba Luka, Arizona, on the Navajo Nation. Her passion for photography began in childhood when she would capture images of her family, animals, and the beautiful land around her. She moved to Phoenix, where in 1999, she met her husband, Adrian, and together they have 2 beautiful children. And in 2020, she decided to pursue her passion full time and transition to managing her photography company exclusively. While she specializes in working with businesses and professionals to create headshots, brand photos, marketing content, and event photography, my guest offers a full-service experience capturing important family milestones, such as graduations, maternity engagements, and family portraits. It's Roshan Spottsville. How are you doing today?
Hi, Taylor. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So we do photography, but you are definitely a photographer where every time I see your work, I'm just like, it is so beautiful. The way that you preserve colors, the way that you capture motion, I always love your work. So that's why. No, it's true though. It's such a true thing. That's why I wanted you here. It's why I love supporting you, because you really do great work and you are creative. I know we have some mutual clients together, and it's always so fun to hear. They're like, yeah, Roshan. She's like, oh, you want to try this? You want to try that? And that's so cool. But I would love to know, tell me the tale of the first photo you took.
Wow, the first photo I took. I don't know. I can't answer that. What I do remember is I had an uncle. His name was Ben. And when I was a kid, he lived here in Phoenix and I lived up north. And he brought me a 110 camera, which I don't know if you remember, the skinny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I had, he bought me the camera and he would buy me like a 5-pack or a 10-pack of film. Mm-hmm. And then he would leave and come back up here and be working, and we wouldn't see him for sometimes months. And in the meantime, I would use up all that film.
Yeah.
And then when he would come back, he would take that film to get it developed and give me some more film. And I know some people were sick of me probably, but my little brother was maybe 3 or 4 at the time. So he was my first model. I took so many pictures of him. It was just everything around us, like our dogs, the sheep, horses, whatever. Yeah. I just wanted to take pictures, and that's the earliest I can remember. I don't really remember the first photo. That's interesting to think about, though.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I remember just the excitement of getting your photos developed. Just like, because you kind of know what you captured, but you didn't really know what you captured until you looked at it. And you had to wait. And then that anticipation of like just opening it up and just seeing all those photos is just so fun. And
hope that you didn't expose it when you were taking out the film cartridge.
Yeah, you didn't expose it or put your finger, over the lens, or something like that. Or, I know growing up, you could always tell who took the photo because the head was cut off. My mom took the photo. So it's just, all those little things.
Specialty.
Yes, that was her specialty. And so, tell me then, what was it that in 2020, especially given, we're in the middle of COVID and all that you were like, you know what? Having a full-time business is a good decision. Like, what was it? What was the story you told yourself, or what was the tale that you told yourself that, like, you could do it and go full-time?
I think it came from, I have like a really wide variety of work experience. Mm-hmm. And I was just never happy at them. Mm. I think it comes from being like when you're a creative person, and the job that I was in at the time was a very like analytical, like copy and paste job. And I wasn't happy there. Like it just wasn't for me. And then things that played out in the workplace that contributed to that. But I'm always happiest when I'm doing creative things and doing monotonous, like just things that you have to just think really hard and there's no creative aspect to it. It's not for me. And during COVID, I was just in this position where I was really unhappy. And I had been in a long time where I think a lot of small business owners find themselves where you're like, I want to go full time, but I can't go full time until I'm making full time money. But I can't make full time money until I'm doing it full time.
Catch-22.
So you find yourself in a cycle. And I had started my photography business in 2010. And it initially, to me, was just kind of going to be a hobby, like something I did in my spare time. But it quickly just kind of took off. My husband had brought me my first DSLR camera. And I was taking pictures of whoever would let me. It's a funny story, but I was taking family pictures. And I took pictures of these chickens, a rooster and a hen, like jumped up on the rail next to me while they were changing their kids or something. And I jokingly put it like on social media. I think Facebook at the time was what was cool. I was jokingly, I put, I did an engagement session today. And I posted a picture of the chickens. Well, it's kind of, there's like a barn in the background. There's like a sunset behind it. It was kind of dramatic. But so people started ordering prints. Somebody asked for it to be like in a zine. And then it was part of a collection of a few other pictures I had that ended up in a museum.
Oh, wow.
And I call them my famous chickens. And I have a copy of it at home right now. But
yeah, I wish I would have gotten that famous. I would have put it in the back of the watch. That's so cool.
I need to put it on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Tell the story. But from there, it just kept taking off. And I had a full-time job the whole time. And I have kids that were in sports and other activities. So I was already busy. So I would kind of do it in between. And sometimes I would get to the point where I was like, I have so much to do. Like, I can't keep doing this. And I would kind of back out of it a little bit. Just because I didn't have time for it. But every single time that I said I was going to step away from it, some big opportunity would come up. And it just kept snowballing and snowballing. And then I'm trying to juggle all this stuff with the photography. And in 2020, I was just like, it's now or never. Like, so it's been fun. Like, I would rather work 16 hours a day for myself than to work for somebody else. And I'm much happier in that 16 hours than I was at 8 hours at any job I ever had.
And it's a more flexible 16 hours for the most part. You can choose when you want to do the photo shoot versus, and if your child had a sports engagement, you can choose to be there, which sometimes when you're, working for someone else, you don't really have that same freedom and flexibility. So tell me, so I would love to know, you do a lot of different types of photos. What are your favorite types of photo shoots?
My favorite photo shoots to do are the brand photography. Those are mostly women that I work with who are small business owners or professionals. And the reason for that is I've always been big on women empowerment. And I strongly believe that when a woman is empowered, you're empowering her whole family. So that's why I find it to be my favorite, just because I love working with the women. I love that I'm able to support them. I'm able to help them accomplish things and just play a role in that for them and just to be a cheerleader for them.
So you're obviously in business and you're also a wife and a mom. What would be some advice you would give to fellow moms who are trying to navigate through that type of a journey?
I think that really tell yourself what to prioritize and what's the most important to you. And that's why when my kids were younger and they were in activities and stuff, it was around, my priority was what they needed. So photo shoots were scheduled around their things. And I think now that they're older, like I don't have to do that as much. I don't have to really schedule around them. But I think some things that help is really organizing your tasks and learning that you can't do everything. Like, because that was hard for me. I'm somebody that I will try to do everything myself.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you have to accept that you can hand off a task, or that some like you can't do everything. So you can't accept every photo shoot. You can't accept and there has to be work-life balance. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just understanding that work-life balance.
Yeah, I think for small business owners, it's definitely one of the biggest hurdles to first get over is that delegation aspect. Because, yeah, you want to do everything because you might say like, oh, well, I know how to do it. It's less expensive because I'm not paying myself necessarily to do it versus paying someone else. But yeah, there is always that fine line of like, well, you can't physically do everything. So sometimes you do have to delegate and find that delegation, that sweet spot.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, something I struggled with is, before you go full time, I think you need to understand what that all incorporates, because I think that was my biggest hurdle, is that I didn't understand all the hats that I would be wearing, because I had been doing the photography part for a long time. So
Yes.
I was fine with that, but I didn't realize I was also going to have to be my social media manager, my website designer, my bookkeeper, I didn't understand that how much all that would take. And I think that maybe 50 to 75% of what I do has nothing to do with the actual photography part. It's all the other aspects of marketing yourself and maintaining your business.
Yeah, that's so true. There's so many different hats you have to wear, or you have to pay out to have other people perform those hats. And so, if someone watching this was looking to get into photography full time for their business, what would be like a number one first step you would have someone do to have a successful photography business?
I think that that would be number one, is just understanding what it takes to run a business full time. So speaking to other business owners and other photographers who are full time, if they're available, I think that's number one. And I think number two is just really believing in yourself. When you're in the creative industry, you do a lot of things whether you want to or not. Like, you compare yourself to other people.
That's just anyone. That's just reality.
You compare your work to other people.
You can thank social media for that one. No one's posting their bad days. No one's posting when they drop their coffee all over their, white blouse.
Yeah. So it's like you, and with creativity, it comes and goes, I think, for all of us. So you have to start to learn to, you have to train yourself to not compare yourself to other people, not compare your work to other people's work. To understand how you want to do business and what kind of business you want to run. Because if you want to be, for example, if you want to be youth-based and youth-focused, you have to understand what you're promoting and what you're showcasing, and that can't conflict with what you're trying to promote.
Right. You got to be focused on your brand.
You got to be focused, understanding your brand. And just believing in yourself, because that comes and goes. I mean, I've been in this, 25, so 15 years now. And there's still times where I'm like, man, that was a rough shoot. Why didn't I do this? Or why didn't I do this? Or because sometimes you go outside, it's windy and you got to fight, or it's hot outside, or things happen.
Or it's crowded for some reason in a spot that you never thought was going to be crowded for, for whatever reason. I know one day at a mutual event, we're both part of NABOS, the National Association of Women Business Owners. I was even asking you, I was like, oh, what's your favorite place to shoot? And I loved your answer. I don't know if you remember what you told me.
Probably know where other people don't go.
You said where I haven't been yet. You were like, you made a comment. You're like, my favorite place to shoot is where I haven't been yet. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. You're just you're always wanting to find somewhere new and things like that. So I found that was a very awesome answer.
Yeah, thank you. So I think it's because I want my clients to have tailored sessions for them. And I don't want them to go online and see another picture.
Right.
That somebody else took at the same spot that looks just like theirs. And so even if I am at a location where there's Papago Park always has a whole bunch of people there.
Yeah. So
I'm always trying to find little different nooks and crannies to shoot where other people aren't, because I don't want my clients' pictures to look like everybody else's pictures.
Right. And that's so good, because even when, you look at your pictures too, and sure, some of them have different, wildflowers or cacti, but none of them feel like, oh, that was done in the exact same spot. They all just have their different feel to it and so forth, which is excellent. And so my next question is, I always kind of like to have a tally. What's your favorite animal with a tail?
Animal with a tail? So I would say hummingbird.
Oh, tell me more. That's a new one. It's a new little hash mark. Hummingbird, team hummingbird.
So, like, scientifically, I guess, they're not supposed to be able to fly.
Okay.
The way they're built, they're not supposed to be able to fly. But they do it anyway.
The other day at baseball, for a baseball game, a little hummingbird came into the dugout where my kids were. Oh. And all the kids it was like, forget the game. Everyone's just staring at the hummingbird. It was just so pretty. And that's a great answer. I love that. I'm originally from the East Coast. And so for me, like learning about like Navajo Nations and, the reservations, like that was so just like history kind of back, for someone growing up back East. What was it like growing up, in a reservation on Navajo Nation? Is it the same feeling as being here in Phoenix, or what are some differences?
Definitely not. Where I grew up, it's called Ba Luka, which it
way
means,
better sounding when you say it.
it means like a place with reeds growing on it, I think, loosely translated.
Okay.
But I grew up with a big family, and like all together we had probably like 10 people at family dinners, or maybe more. I don't know. But it was just different. Like it was out in the wide open with like the beautiful land, like our culture. I had my grandma and my grandpa raising me. So I learned a lot from them and about our culture. And then just having livestock around. And like, I remember as kids, like, out here in the city, you have a yard, and you're like, kids have to stay in the yard or whatever.
Yeah.
We were miles and miles from the house, riding horses bareback sometimes, or maybe we'd be like in the ponds, like trying to find the frogs, or
See, I grew up by
climbing
woods, so I can kind of relate to that a little bit. Like, we were definitely down by the creek, just doing just natural fishing, and, like, caught an eel once, freaked us out. We thought it was like a water moccasin or something. And so, so I can relate to that a little bit, but it's such a different climate, being in the desert here and everything.
Yeah, and it's different there. It's, we have trees, we have seasons, and it's just, it's a very, like, I'm away a lot, so I don't get to go home often with my schedule. But when I do go home, it's just like I can just go home and drop something off, and leaving, I'll just feel rejuvenated. Like, it's just my home base. And it's always going to be home for me.
That is awesome. I can just imagine how beautiful the landscape is, there and everything.
Yeah, the really blue skies, and you can see millions of stars at night. It's a little crazy sometimes when you go back, like.
That's awesome.
It just makes you appreciate it more when you're gone from there.
Yeah. No, I can imagine, because here in the valley, it's very, very bright. There's a lot of light pollution. So I know even where I was originally from back east, it's so much darker. Where if you're in the middle of the woods at night, you can just look up and really start seeing all the constellations and things. And so that's a lot.
Yeah.
Of fun. That is awesome.
It's fun. It's kind of funny because I'm like 47 now, I think, and I go back and. Like, it just still trips me out. Like, when I go home, I'm like, oh my God, the stars. Like,
so then you forget about it.
Yeah, you forget.
You forget just how much light pollution, like, does dilute what you can see. And so,
Yeah, because here in Phoenix, we look up and we're like, oh, wait, that's a helicopter. Never mind.
Right, I know.
It's like
basically,
the one star.
I can find Orion, and that's about it. Like, if I'm lucky. Nothing else. And I used to be really good back east at, like, finding different constellations. I was super into that.
Yeah.
So that's so
it's hard to find them here in Phoenix.
Yes, just a little bit. So as a creative, obviously, you probably are attracted to creative things. So tell me, what is your favorite tale you've ever read or watched? So what's your favorite movie or your favorite book?
I might be able to answer the top 5 movies, but even then, it's like, I'm not a big TV person or...
Okay.
Sorry.
Hey, no, sometimes life is so, like, honestly, all of my top, favorite movies, like books, yes, I do listen to a lot when I'm riding my bike or going on a walk or driving. I listen to a lot. But with movies, it's tough, especially when you have kids, because a lot of things aren't really appropriate for the kids. So you can't really watch, everything with them.
Yeah.
So I get it, why it's a little difficult sometimes to find content consumption time.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
No need to be sorry. Well, then what would be one, though? Because you said you could maybe do a top 5. So what would be one of that top
Top 5 movies are probably movies I've watched on repeat so many times.
That sounds like a top 5.
Probably Love and Basketball.
Oh, that's a good one.
Shawshank Redemption, I know I've watched multiple times.
All right.
Pure Country.
Ooh, I haven't done that one.
Sticking with the country theme, probably 8 Seconds is in there. Yeah, I think probably those 4. I don't really keep track of that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Literally, like, all my favorites are all from probably more childhood, like adolescence time, like Dead Poet Society. When I watched that movie, it was so like, yes, carpe diem, yes, look, what kind of might happen? And and so it still sticks with me just because of how it made me feel when I watched it. Harold and Maude, a movie from the 70s, also in my top 5. Like, I love that movie. So yeah, I know it doesn't have to be anything new. And honestly, nowadays, I don't really feel like there's that great of new stuff unless you're into like superheroes. There's not really that much content being produced nowadays.
I feel like a lot of the movies now are like repeats of other things. They're just remade.
They're just rehashing.
And if you watch Lifetime, it's all the same subjects.
Oh, I surely don't watch Lifetime. No, not at all. No, I
always laugh. It's always like a lady that works in the city, and for some reason had to go back to the country where her family lives, as she hasn't been back for like 30 years.
Right.
But she's already married or going to get married in the city. But then she ends up meeting somebody runs back into somebody that she went to school with.
Right.
And then ends up having to make the decision and then ends up staying there.
So, yeah, exactly. Always so like romantic and love movies and action movies can't stand either of them because the plot line. It's just gonna, it just both of those. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, I'm done. Or action movie. It's just like, you meet the good guy almost gets killed by bad guy, good guy prevails. Like, it's just, they're the most boring types of movies to me.
I just realized I left out of my top 5 Rocky. Any of the Rocky and Creed movies, I will watch on repeat.
Confession. Never seen Rocky.
What?
Never seen any of the Rocky.
What?
I know. Confession. I don't know. I'm aware of it.
That's one of the few movies, like, I don't really want to go see movies at the theater too often. But anytime the Creed movies come out, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Oh, very interesting.
Or like Rocky, I will watch those on repeat.
Okay, yeah. So what is it about it that...
I don't know. I think the underdog thing plays a role.
Okay.
And then I think him like battling and working to get to where he wants to be is part of it.
Good montage.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved Rocky when I was like a kid, and then it just stuck. And now the Creed movies came out. I'm like, I love the Creed movies too.
That's very cool. Yeah, I guess for me, I've always been very against like boxing. Like, I don't like boxing, MMA, like any of those like fist fighting like sports. I don't really call sports. So I think just mentally, I've always been against that. Although I love football and hockey, so it doesn't quite make sense that I'm like, well, they're not throwing fists. They're just slamming people to the ground. A little different, or slamming people into walls. I don't know why that's different to me. And like, I'm also like very against like war, but yet like I love listening to like hardcore history from Dan Campbell, like, and it's all like hardcore like war stories. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch boxing. I think I used to when it was like Tyson and Holyfield and back then, but not. Yeah. I don't watch it anymore at all.
Got it. And so off camera, we were talking. I know, especially like in the photography world, there's always like the Nikon versus Canon kind of conversation. And you are on the good side, I would say, Team Canon, right?
I am Team Canon.
What made you choose Canon over Nikon?
Really, it's just what I started with, and it's what's worked for me. So I've stuck. I thought about switching to Sony
Sony is
for a while because I was hearing so much good stuff about them, but. Like at that point, I had so much equipment that was Canon, and I would like if I got a Sony camera, I would have to buy like triggers and stuff that were
you kind of get stuck in the ecosystem. It's like once you choose, because then like just the mounts for your lenses, and just like once you're stuck in that ecosystem, you're like, well, I am now a Canon family, or I'm now with this family because you have the flashes that react. We have you have the mounts that go with the lenses and just all the things, and so.
Yeah, funny story. So I had a Canon 6D, was it what I had before? And I was at a family photo shoot, and I had like 20 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, no, this one had like 15 people. And in the middle of the shoot, I'm getting a message on my screen that says fatal error, something. And I was freaking out because I'm at a big family photo shoot. There's a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I kept popping out the battery and like trying to act like nothing was wrong. But in my head, I was like frantic. I kept popping out the battery, putting it back in. It would take like a couple more pictures and then it would do it again. So I'm doing this like constantly like flipping out the battery and putting it back in. I know they had to be wondering what I was doing because I kept popping the battery out.
Yeah.
I had already known like it was time to get another camera. So I was already ready to buy another one anyway. So the next day I had a photo shoot with 19 people in it. And so when I left that photo shoot, I went that night and I got the R6 that I have now. And I didn't think anything about like going to check to see how it works or anything because I had a Canon camera, got a Canon camera.
Right. You're like, they're going to be the same. All the buttons are going to be the same spot.
Yeah.
Typically not in the same spot.
So the next day I go and it's a photo shoot for like 19 people. And I can't find the thing to change the exposure anywhere. Like to get to the menu, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
I struggled through that photo shoot. I was trying so hard to make things work, and I got through. We got good pictures. We were good. But then I got home and opened the manual. It's touchscreen.
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yes. No,
So it's important to read your manual sometimes.
It is important, or at least watch a YouTube video on it once. You know, just watch a little quick YouTube video, follow along. Yeah, that's what the great thing of my husband. Like, he's definitely the more technical person out of the two of us, and so he tends to show me what buttons I need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that can be just so nerve wracking. Whenever you just like get a new piece of equipment and you expect it to be like, okay, same brand, same buttons, right? And then it's not
at all. It's touchscreen now.
Yes, touchscreen.
Yeah, that was a rough shoot because it was so many people too at that one. So it was like 2 back-to-back, a whole bunch of people, camera not working right. Shoots. We got them taken care of. They got what they needed.
And then I always wonder too, do you get a lot of your clients like asking you to do like extreme touch-ups, and what is your policy when it comes to like plasticizing people?
Photoshop plastic surgery.
Yes, Photoshop plastic surgery. Because I feel like so many people ask that, and then it's sort of like, especially when it comes to brand, like I always kind of like, try to educate people of like, okay, we're using these to promote yourself, and that you might be having a disconnection when then you meet them in person and you look very different. How do you approach those conversations?
Number one, I think as a photographer, you have to have the mindset that everybody's beautiful the way they are. Because I think a lot of times, like I've had photographers tell me, like ask me, they're like, okay, when somebody's not so photogenic, like how do you take their photos? And I was like, well, number one, you're messing up by believing they're not beautiful the way they are. Because if you already have that mindset, then you're going to be struggling. Mm-hmm. And how do you think that makes your client feel? Yeah. Like, so if you're the one judging them before you even start the shoot, like that's kind of a rough start. And I think number two is like understanding how to pose people. Mm-hmm. And understanding what's flattering and what's not flattering for your clients. Mm-hmm. Because not all poses work for everybody. And I think when you understand that, it helps get those pictures taken before you have to get to the editing point. Mm-hmm. So I don't get a lot of people asking me for like the extreme touch-ups. I'll get it every now and then. But I always remind people that like I try to keep things looking natural. I try to keep people looking the way they are. Mm-hmm. I'm big on authenticity. And like you said, with your brand, like you don't want to look one way in your pictures and you show up catfishing like your corporate clients. Like you don't want to do that.
Exactly. We say the same thing with video too. There's so many people who, want to hire, a voiceover artist or a spokesperson or just use character animations to have themselves. And I'm like, but are you going to be the face-to-face at the end of the day? Like if you are doing face-to-face interaction with your clients, don't put a pound of makeup on. And then if you don't ever wear a pound of makeup. Yeah. Because then it's going to be like, oh, you didn't want to dress up for me? I'm not good enough for you to look the way in the video. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to put that effort in today. So it is important to be authentic and like look like yourself. And so,
yeah, and it's not easy. Sometimes you have to educate your clients on, because I've had people like, are you worried about AI taking over your, and I'm like, not really, because I've seen AI pictures and yeah, they might look like you, but it's not you.
Yeah, and they still look like plastic. Like it's still, you would tell.
You can tell it's AI.
Yeah, you can tell there's something off on it, and just yeah.
Yeah, it's but it's really just, if people ask me, I will make slight adjustments. And the other thing is I charge more for it because it takes more work.
Oh yeah.
So if they ask for it, I'll do it, but
Right.
I always educate them first. Like, I think you look fine the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you need to do that. But if you insist, like, it's going to cost extra because it takes more work to do that photoshopping. And even then, I will, like, lightly do it. I'm not doing the whole body makeovers for people.
Right.
Because the thing I tell people is that I feel like a lot of people in photos, they're judging themselves based off of supermodels, and your photos are not being used for a supermodel audition. So we need to stop judging ourselves based on what supermodels look like.
Yeah, false.
Because that's not what you're applying for. Like, if you're an accountant, you're trying to get accounting clients, or you're not trying to get Vogue or whoever. We have to be kinder to ourselves, I believe, first of all. And I think people also need to, especially small business owners and like professionals, you are your brand. So if you go to a website and where there's everybody else's pictures or stock photos and you're nowhere on there, like, it doesn't really, your potential clients don't really connect to it because they don't see you there. So as much as you want to not be in a picture, you're the face of your brand no matter what.
Yeah, and even a well done just B-roll stock photo, you just tell, there's that disconnect of like, wait, I know your office doesn't look like that. Or, they're based in Arizona and there's just a jungle in the background. You're like, those trees do not grow here, And so you do want to have that, authenticity and have a connection that makes sense.
And the cohesiveness, because sometimes, like, somebody will have a selfie from one event and then they'll have like a professional headshot, and then they'll have like, it's just all these different pictures with different filters taken at different time. It doesn't make your website look clean.
Very true.
So even with team, like corporate headshots, when they have the whole team on there, everybody goes to their own photographer, or they all take their selfies. That drives me crazy.
It's clean. I like it.
Like, the website will be so nice, and then it'll just be like
this hodgepodge of team photos, the ones that just sent it with their cell phone doing a quick selfie versus the ones that the professional ones. Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate when there's an organization that has like the cohesive, like everyone came in to that event and did the photo in that one spot,
It's hard to get everybody together, but it's worth it.
Yes, it is worth it. Yeah, no, it is hurting cats, but you should herd those cats. And then, is there a certain color scheme you typically recommend people to stick with for their photos, or patterns or no patterns or anything like that? Or
for colors, I recommend jewel tones. That's what I recommend. Absolutely no neon colors, because the pink and those neon colors, they reflect onto your skin. And so you'll have a cast on your skin from those colors. And patterns, I think typically people say like no big patterns, but I'm kind of if you're a big pattern type of person, come with your big patterns. Like,
it matters with the brand. And when I look at some of your work too, it's like you have some of these like very beautiful and authentic, wardrobes. I'm looking at like the family here on the top left. Like, there's patterns because that's just in the culture to have patterns. And so, it makes sense.
So actually the first those first four, that was all at the same shoot.
Oh, wow. And they look like totally different locations.
It was at the Desert Botanical Garden. That is the Duncan family. They're very talented and they're pretty well known.
Oh, wow.
We did a brand shoot for them.
Very cool. Yeah, no, very, very cool. And that's definitely a beautiful location.
Yeah, but that's definitely, I like vibrant colors and true to life colors.
Yes.
So when I edit, that's how I try to edit. I don't like changing to other colors or muting colors or
Right. And that's something too, like you can tell you really care about colors. And that's something that I can really tell when I look at your, your photos and everything.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job.
It's good to hear other people's perceptions of what you do sometimes.
Well, yeah, no, and especially coming from people who do it. Like I said, I showed my husband some of your work and he's like, oh, wow, she uses a flash. That's great. Like you could just, you know what I mean? Like you could tell from like looking at yourself, like, oh, okay, someone who uses a flash, someone who, knows what they're doing a bit, just like the composition of things. And so there's so much to think about.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could do natural light photography just because it's not easy carrying all that stuff around all the time.
Do you
Setting
have
up
someone
and
helping you though?
I have an assistant.
Okay, good.
Shout out Izzy.
All right.
Yeah, but or sometimes my son helps me, but yeah, it's natural light photographers. I'll be so jealous of them. Sometimes we're like at the desert hiking up a thing and I'm carrying all these bags and they're just walking up with their camera. I'm like,
Trust me, it's good. No, what you're doing is good. What you're doing is good. And then I know you mentioned how you're like, it's important to help people pose correctly. Is there a particular pose that is like your favorite go-to for the majority of people? Or if someone's looking to learn, what's one go-to pose I can tell people to do? What would be, one pose you'd recommend?
One pose. I think something I tell people a lot is to, when you're taking a picture, lean forward just a tiny bit from your waist.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people worry about their midsection. Mm-hmm. And what that does is that puts your chest more forward.
Okay. Yeah.
And that makes your midsection look smaller. So
makes sense.
And the other thing is like pushing your chin forward and then down. I always use the example of like if you had a friend standing in front of you and you're taking a picture and you're leaning over their shoulder. I always use that for an example, like pretend you're leaning over your friend's shoulder to take a picture because that slims the face a little.
Okay.
But that's probably...
So something like that, just like lean over?
Yeah, you just push your chin forward and down. Yeah, so even... You don't have any chin, like no double chin, but it accentuates your jawline and it's just more flattering.
Oh, and I'm also doing my one other tip is the tongue to the roof of your mouth. So that also kind of helps with the...
Yeah, sometimes when people do that though, you can tell and like their face looks strained. So, because when they do it, it's like, so I don't do that one too often. But it is, some people, we were just at ASU and I'm an ASU vendor, so I do a bunch of different events for them. But I was at one recently, and the kids were just talking about that. I shouldn't call them kids.
I know anyone younger.
The students there,
yeah,
the students there were talking about that, and so it was kind of funny that came up twice in a week.
Oh, there you go. There's something to it.
Yeah, and I think sitting in a chair, that's the other thing. A lot of people, when they sit in a chair, they tend to sit like all the way back and lean back on, and it's not flattering for most people. Like you have to sit forward and like. You see, I'm not like leaning on the chair.
Yeah, no, you want to sit forward.
You sit up and sit tall, yeah.
Yeah. No, I know before we do video shoots, I always tell people whether they're sitting or standing, I'm like, all right, let's take a deep breath, roll our shoulders back, and there. Like, it's like you always kind of have to make them reset. Whether they're sitting or standing to then be at that more like proud, tall posture to then perform. Like you see even now, like I probably started that way. And then as our, talk went, I'm like just getting more comfortable and crunched. And so, we did the same thing for video. It's just like, a little up and back. And there you go.
Yeah. And I love to like laugh and joke around at my photo shoots. So like, I think that gives the most natural smiles.
Yes.
Because sometimes just smiling, you're going to start looking like you're faking it after a while. So.
Right.
Just joking around with people.
Do you keep a joke book with you to just start busting out jokes?
No. Sometimes I'm just going to tell somebody to laugh and they just laugh. But I don't know. I just like to joke around. That's just my personality. So
that's what makes it fun. And especially in a scenario when it comes to photography, a lot of people are self-conscious of what they look like. And, you really shouldn't be though, because you're a beautiful person, through and through. And so just hold that confidence and have it shine through the lens. And so if someone is looking to capture some great photos of their family, their business, whatever special event it is, how can people get a hold of you? And we'll put all those links in the show notes as well.
Okay. So I have Instagram, which is photography by Roshan. I'm on LinkedIn at, I think it's Photog and then Roshan. And then my website is photographybyroshan.com.
All right, so make sure you look up Roshan. She's awesome. As you can hear, you're going to have a fun time and get some beautiful photos. So thank you so very much for coming by today.
Thanks for having me, Taylor. It was fun hanging out with you.
Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.